Hello everyone to this video to close off the topic of tabulation. Apologies for not getting this video up online when I said it would be. A little bit unwell towards the end of the week, feeling a bit better now. But in any case, I hope you managed to click on the link to the Google Docs document, which I'll also link to below if you're watching this on YouTube, or above if you're watching this on Facebook, and you can have a look at my answers, compare them to your answers, and hopefully they were quite close. If you have any questions at all as regards my answers, then please get in touch. I'm more than happy to discuss why I chose the answers that I chose. Given that you can compare your answers to my answers, what's left for me to say? Basically, to explain a little bit more about tabulation and magic L. First of all, where did magic L come from? The honest answer is I can't remember. When I was doing research for Plain English many years ago, I had piles and piles and piles of documents written by many different authors, and suddenly magic L popped up. And then all of a sudden I lost the source material, and I genuinely can't remember where magic L came from. It's not my idea. Someone far cleverer than me thought up magic L. So if you come across magic L in your plain English studies, please get in contact with me and tell me where you found it. And if I remember where I found it, then I'll update this video and tell you and give the author of magic L all of the credit that he or she deserves. To close off this topic of tabulation, just let me take a few moments to explain once again in a little bit more detail why tabulation is so important. First of all, let's go back to the beginning. Why are you writing? You are writing to communicate to someone else. So there's two people in this relationship. You as the author, them as the reader. Who is the most important? The reader is more important than the writer. Why? Well, if the reader can't understand what the writer hopes to communicate to the reader, then the message doesn't work. The method of communication fails. So therefore, we always have to think about the reader as we're writing. Can they understand what it is that I am trying to communicate? And if the answer is no, then we're wasting our time. There's no point being Shakespeare if the person on the other side doesn't understand what it is that you're writing. So tabulation has that very much in mind. So what tabulation does is a number of different things. First of all, obviously, it separates all of the points into individual points. This has a number of knock-on benefits. First of all, we can use lists to create a hierarchy. So the thing at the top of the list could be more important than the thing at the bottom of the list, and we would use numbered lists to communicate this message. In creating a list, in creating those points, you're forced to think about how concisely you can communicate that information. If I'm writing in a block of text, then I can write and write, and perhaps conciseness and specificity is sacrificed because we can just write and write, as you do sometimes. But because we're writing in a list, it doesn't lend itself to lots and lots of unnecessary language. So we think very carefully about what it is that we're trying to communicate, and communicate those points very concisely. Tabulation uses white space to help break down the text. White space is exactly that. It's white space on the page, and this helps the reader. And you know this for yourselves. When you read a book and it's just block of text, everything's jammed together, it's very difficult to see bits of information in that text because it's all stuck together. Using white space to separate everything out helps the reader understand where to find information on the page, and tabulation does this. Which leads on to the other benefit of white space and tabulation, and that is that tabulation can easily be found in the future. So you read something, it was presented in a great way following magic L, and then in a week or so's time you remember, yes, that information was in a table, or was in a list, or was presented in a much easier way. And then you flick back through your papers and you identify where it is, and you find it straight away because you know it's in the form of a list. But if it was stuck in a block of text somewhere, then you would be searching and searching and searching and searching for that piece of information. So white space and tabulation helps us find information a lot faster. So all of those points help the reader understand your message, and it also helps you. How? Well, if you can communicate in a way in which the reader can understand, the reader feels happy because they're working with someone who can communicate and they can understand, and that reader is more likely to tell other people about you being able to communicate efficiently, effectively, and appropriately. So you're more likely to benefit from that magic advertising source, word of mouth. As a concluding point, this use of tabulation and the benefits of the use of tabulation isn't anything new. Governments, councils, many organisations around the world now use tabulation in the information that they present to the public. Why? Well, that information that's presented in a tabulated form is easier to understand, and that has a number of important benefits. First of all, if it's easier to understand, that person feels, the reader feels empowered. They understand, they can act upon what they are reading. If they are reading something and they don't know what's going on, then they don't feel empowered and they feel weaker because they don't understand the language. This empowerment, this knowledge that the reader then has, also leads directly onto monetary saving costs for that organisation or government, because less people have to phone up saying, I don't understand what's going on, please can you explain it to me? Because that information is presented in a tabulated form, which is easier for that person to understand. So that government, that organisation, that body which is producing this information in a tabulated form is saving time, it's saving money, and it's getting a better reputation. Tabulation is entirely a positive thing, and I would urge you to think very carefully about your writing. If something can be tabulated, tabulate it, and the basic rules, Magic L, will help you to do that.